It's been weeks since I've seen you.
Abby and Kat were born in 1997 and became best friends when they were 6. Grew up together and started a band and bonded over music ever since. 20 years later, they are all grown up and spend their free time analyzing lyrics. Now here they are talking all about their Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift. Taylor, if you're listening, we love you.
So, hey.
Hi.
Well, welcome to Swiftlore Podcast, where we dive into the lyrics and lore of our Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift.
Absolutely, that's why we're here.
I'm Kat.
I'm Abby.
And this week, we're
talking about friendship.
Isn't it crazy? We finish each other.
Sandwiches.
That's not what I was going to say. What the fuck? I think that's the next thing you're going to say. I loved that trend that was going around with that song where it's like, that was the moment that, like, he got the ick.
Yeah.
You know what? That's valid. I also, if somebody did that to me, I also would plot to overthrow and kill them. So that's valid.
True. No, I remember that TikTok trend. People are very funny on the internet. I'm still under a rock. I still don't see a lot of it anymore. But I've been thinking about going on TikTok again. I just don't know. It might take over my life.
That's fair. I set screen limit times so that I have it set to like 30 minutes a day. And then after the 30 minutes are up, it'll tell you. And then every time you go to open the app, it'll be like, do you want to ignore it? And I'll be like, yes,
sure?
Give me 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, it'll be like, girl, you only said 15 more minutes. And I'm just like, but it's an Eras Tour live stream. Please let me watch Tess.
Wow.
Speaking of which, I don't know if you saw the surprise songs today.
Today, yes. Yeah, I was
Sparks Fly and I Can Fix Them No Really I Can.
Interesting.
Girl,
okay, but
I listened to it. It's really good. Of course, it's Taylor Swift.
Right. Long Live and Yo-Yok?
That was last week.
I know.
That was
but
also
I'm
crazy.
still
Wait, I
reeling.
forgot what the piano was today, but I just remember seeing it being like, what?
It was, I looked through people's windows and...
yes, and Snow on the Beach.
Yeah.
I watched it live.
Wow. I know that like we're past this for you guys when you're listening.
But we're not past it.
I'm not past it. And I'm still not past Yo-Yok and Long Live. I
actually haven't listened to the Yo-Yok Long
won't.
Live because I don't think I'll live long if I do that. I will be on my own 6 feet under. Speaking of which, today I'm covering Long Live.
I'm covering 7.
It's fun. It's fun. It's a good time. And we're not going to cry.
This was just so rough. This song, 7, it just hits me where it hurts in the feels, and so does Long Live. That's why I chose not to cover it.
And I was like, you know what? I love pain.
But we're covering these friendship songs today for a couple of reasons. One, if you guys don't know, Kat and I are friends.
Oh, we are? Really?
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. I was really worried for a while there.
For about 20 years. Oh my gosh, someone DM'd us and said that they just had our theme song stuck in their head. And I was like, I've lived, like...
You've lived long.
I've lived long. Anyway, other thoughts. We are both so scatterbrained today, and also I haven't seen Kat in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, we've been having withdrawals. Abby texted me the other day and was like, I haven't seen you in so long. I miss you so much.
I know, I kept texting you really stupid things. I just had to tell you so much that was going through my head.
Let me read you the text I sent you this morning. I had a dream last night, and I want to word it the way that I did when I was half asleep this morning.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I wasn't half asleep. It was 9:30. I was well into the workday. Anyways, I had a dream last night that we went to a Taylor concert, and the seats we originally had a leak in the ceiling above them. So we got moved to slightly better seats, and then Taylor felt bad that we got wet, so she played a highlight reel of our podcast videos on the big screen on stage.
I have now a whole Swiftlore album in my phone of like 300 screenshots, videos, and things of the like to put on our Patreon when that launches soon.
It's going to happen soon.
It's going to happen soon. But like I have right here a screenshot from last week where Kat texted me, Spears begging for the chocolate I'm eating. And I said, if you eat this, you'll die. You die, I die. Then I had to pause and think, which of us is Steve and which of us is Dustin? And then I responded, okay. well, I just saw 2 people making mozzarella cheese in a factory and said Robin and Steve core. I fear neither of us has the brain cell right now.
We both have Stranger Things brain rot. That's also for anybody wondering. At first I was gonna be like, well, I'm Steve because I like Steve Harrington, and I was like, wait, no, Spear's stupider than me. I'm Dustin. I have brain.
Spear is Steve core.
She is. She just doesn't. She's just a little himbo, even though she's a girl.
Well, alternatively, when this comes out, it'll be about the 1-year anniversary of me meeting my celebrity crush, Joseph Quinn. You guys know.
You know we don't shut up about Stranger Things every other episode,
approximately. It's been a while since we've mentioned it. I try to be cool.
Days since Stranger Things was mentioned on Swiftlore just went back to 0.
We for sure mentioned Jason Lipschitz more. So that's fine. But I'm a huge fan of the show, obviously. And, you know, JQ is my crush. And, you know, I can call him JQ because we're best. I'm kidding. We're not. He doesn't know me. Don't take that seriously.
This is a joke. This is a joke. This is not a parasocial thing.
But, yeah, so it's been 1 year since I met him. Very exciting. Congratulations, me.
Congratulations, me.
So you see how we are desperately trying not to launch into our feels right now. We are avoidant of emotions at this current time.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not avoiding anything. I'm so normal and fine about everything. Who should? I feel like you should go first.
I think I have to.
I fear you must.
I fear I must. 7.
I also feel like, I don't know if you're going to mention this, but we became friends when we were 6/7.
We did.
Because we met in first grade. Shout out Miss Eyrig. Mrs. Eyrig? Miss Eyrig?
I don't know. But yes, shout out for, showing us the way. AKA teaching our first grade class.
AKA probably sitting us next to each other because alphabet. Did I just have a stroke?
Yep.
Alphabetically, our last names start with C and D. So we're
exactly. So we were always near each other.
Actually, we're next to each other in our first grade class picture. So
yes, we are.
That's probably how we met.
Probably, yeah.
That's wild.
It is wild to think about.
Our friendship's going to turn 21 this
21!
September. We're going to have to get so drunk.
So drunk!
I like you repeating what I said without processing it first and then just immediately starting
No, it's because I agree. I agree so hard.
We'll finally finish that fucking bottle of tequila.
The magically refilling bottle that's not in its place anymore.
Oh no, I put it back in its actual place, my liquor cabinet.
Whew.
The Sisyphusian tequila.
Oh my gosh, that is, yes, we're gonna be 21. Our friendship's gonna be 21. But right now, you're just turned 27. Mm-hmm. I'm about to turn 27. Mm-hmm. This is the song called 7. And right? And so that's what I'm covering, and I'm going to be emo about it. And I will mention this when we get to the Moon to the Saturn line, but I might as well just mention it now. Kat and I have tattoos.
We have tattoos.
Tattoos. Kat's is the moon. Mine is the Saturn.
The Saturn.
The Saturn.
Just the one.
Saturn is the 6th planet.
I was going to be like, it's the 7th. You don't have to count on your hands, but then I was wrong.
No, I actually do talk about how it's the 6th planet in here.
Because it's actually an Easter egg because it's about us.
Right, exactly.
Except with not exactly. Wait, were you the one who... Oh, no, it was Bailey that texted the group chat this morning. It was like, I had a dream that me and Kat Kat called me and was just like, let's go to India.
Oh, yeah.
That was like this morning. I can't believe that Bailey prophesized this episode recording.
Yeah, our whole life is an Easter egg, honestly, because with Taylor Swift especially, because there's been so many coincidences.
What if I told you
none of it? Anyway.
The brain rot really be hitting.
Whew, man. Anyway, I'm so glad. I hope you guys enjoy listening to our nonsense. 7 is the longest vamping in history. All right. 7 is the 7th track. I wrote in parentheses, ha. Jesus.
7, ha.
Ha. Of Taylor's 8th studio album, Folklore.
Why was 9 afraid of 7? Wait, 10. 7, 8, 9.
Cat.
Happy Pride, everybody. I can't do math. I'm gay.
If
I wish that was a bit.
Yeah, if I would have thought it was a bit, but I know you so well, and I know that we have nothing going on in our heads right now. Not a thing. Oh,
it's a nighttime recording, everyone.
I met friend of the podcast, M, when I went to Seattle. I know you're listening to this, M. Hi. And I was talking to M. This was our first time like meeting up in person. And they were just like, oh, so you're actually just like that?
Which also happened when we met friend of the pod, Gabby.
Yeah.
Which you had already met her before, but I had not met her. And so she was experiencing us together, which is, it's like this. Like, this
Right.
is not,
This is just
we're
how
not
it is.
dressing up ourselves at all. Like, this is just how we interact with each other at all times.
It is. You're getting the true cabbie experience.
It's true.
Yeah. So anyway,
Sorry,
now that's all listen, we're going to be here all night. All right. Last week I covered a track 7. So this was another Easter egg situation. 7-7. I covered the 7th track of the 7th album last week. So we're going in order. Just kidding. We're not.
I'm like looking up what song you're covering next week to know what track number it is.
Oh.
Because if it was 777, that'd be wild, but I don't know if it is.
Ooh, that would be wild.
Continue your story while I check. Your story.
My story.
Your podcast.
My very important business.
It's not.
Okay. This song was released on July 24th, 2020, and it was written and produced by Taylor and Aaron Dessner. This song is in between Mirrorball and August, and in my opinion, this is part of probably the greatest 4-song chain in Taylor's discography, like ever. This Is Me Trying is the 4th one. Those 4 songs are all 10s for me. I love them. This is the 2nd song that Taylor and Aaron wrote for this album after Cardigan.
They really said, let's get some nostalgia going. Let's get some vibes going.
Let's get some pain. Let's get some daddy issues. That's what they said. During that Long Pond studio session where Taylor and Aaron talked a bunch, Taylor said that, and Jack too. Taylor said, with 7, the song, I was looking back on it and I've always wondered, when I see a kid throwing a massive tantrum in a grocery store, part of me is like, man, I feel you. When did I stop doing that when I was upset? When did I stop being so outraged that I would throw myself on the floor and throw the cereal at my mom?
I think about that quote so often.
So often.
Every single time that I see a kid crying in public and I get annoyed because my default mode when I'm minorly inconvenienced is to get really annoyed. I think about that quote and then I'm just like, you know what, kid? Me too. I'm going to join you in screaming.
Yeah. And
I don't do that. I don't scream with children at grocery stores. But I want to.
You buy your grocery at the grocery store.
I buy my grocery at the grocery store. Just the one.
Just the one.
And I have a little tiny shopping bag.
Yeah, that's something that I will talk about during the lyrics analysis. The next thing that happened was Jack said, well, it also doesn't stop. Where does it go? And then he continues, and I have it highlighted with a comment. And I was like, oh, what did I write? It must have been something really important. And when I just highlighted, well, it also doesn't stop. Where does it go? And I just wrote Cotton Eye Joe vibes.
Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Screaming on the floor. It's just doing the Cotton Eye Joe, but just laying on the floor and crying.
Oh my gosh. That's my kind of Cotton Eye Joe.
Flopping over instead of turning.
That's what I'm going to do at the next wedding.
Just get real weird with it.
I'm going to get so weird at it. All right.
That's what it's like being single at a wedding in your 20s is laying on the ground screaming and doing the Cotton Eye Joe all at once.
That's true. In case you were wondering what it's like. Whew. All right. Fun fact. I have talked about this song with my therapist.
To be fair, we have the tattoos.
Yeah. Well, it was before that because it was actually
I was trying to give you it out.
No. It relates to the last quote. Like, I was telling her about how I do feel as an adult less free to express myself and my feelings, whereas a kid, obviously, you don't have those worries. So I've definitely talked about the song. I talk about Taylor Swift a lot in therapy, to be clear.
You're not the only one.
No. I mean, listen.
If I went to therapy, it'd be mostly Taylor Swift.
Right. It's like,
why would I voice my emotions when Taylor Swift already did it?
Right. Like we were talking about with Megan Collins, how it's easier to put your own thoughts into words when you're listening to something and you're like, yes, that's how I feel. And so I bring stuff in all the time. I bring shows. I've gotten 2 therapists to watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
And then they give you a therapy gold star.
That's
and
true.
Then your mental illness goes away.
But I tweeted Rachel Bloom that like years ago and she liked it.
So you know what?
So Rachel knows.
Vindication.
All right. This was a surprise song on the Eras Tour, June 17th, 2023 in Pittsburgh, accompanied by Aaron Dessner. This was the 2nd show on the Eras Tour, and she dedicated it to her dad for Father's Day. Lines of this song are also spoken during the poem that plays at the beginning of the folklore
she dedicated this song to her dad?
Yeah.
The song with lines about a dad who's always angry?
Sounds weird, doesn't it?
I guess it's your dad's always angry. So then by default, my dad seems cooler.
It's with Pennsylvania Over Me. She was talking about
that.
Pennsylvania.
Okay,
and
that makes sense.
nostalgia.
I was just trying to figure it out. And I was
No,
just like,
you're so right, because when you said that, I'm like, you know what? Correct. That is strange. But
like weird subtweet, Tay, but okay. I respect it.
Woo, you're right.
Sorry, continue.
No, it's fine. On August 20th, 2020, this was included on the Folklore, the Escapism Chapter EP. It's also played during the closing credits of the 2022 coming-of-age drama film Summering, and it's played in the final episode of the second season of Heartstopper.
Oh, I haven't watched that season yet.
Oh,
I really
really?
need to. I need to, but like I feel like I need to be in a good headspace to watch it.
Yes, that is true.
And I haven't been.
I watched it when it came out, and I forgot that 7 was played. And then when I read that, I immediately was like, oh, because it packs such an emotional punch.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I want this to be in the last season of The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Ooh. Oh, I just got chills thinking about it. Wow.
Which probably is going to be out till next summer, and I'm upsetty about it.
Yeah, that is upsetty. Spaghetti.
It's okay. I need to stop saying that one single quote from Mean Girls. I do it so often. It's really a problem.
I think it's fine that you do it. And I what I say goes. So,
You said it's fine, and I was like,
okay.
I just told myself I couldn't say it, and you were just like, no, it's fine. I was like, it's fine. I'm gonna throw myself on the floor. Sorry,
oh gosh. Just stop telling me to continue. I will do it. I promise.
I'm trying to stop my own tangents.
No, because I'm about to throw another one at you.
Oh no.
The reason I went to Seattle, remember, was because I was an extra in a movie that was playing at the Seattle Film Festival. I forgot to tell Kat about this.
Oh yeah. What
I
was
was
this
updating
whole
you.
recap? Have you told me things to do? She
forgot I was in a movie, and it was great. It was a great movie.
What movie is it?
It's called Empire Waste, and the moment it comes out, people should watch this because it's
how
so
do you
good.
spell like how waste, like with an I or like with an
the
E?
body waste?
Yeah, with an I.
Yeah, right. That's how spelling works.
Some would say it's fun.
It's fun. It was a really, really good movie, focused so much on like coming of age, body positivity. Wow, it was amazing. It totally blew me away. And I had bright pink hair when I was an extra in the school scenes. So you see my blurry pink head in at least 3 shots.
Slay.
Heck yeah. Anyway, that's my plug for that. Everyone loves the song, and they are correct. Mm-hmm. Jason Lipschitz.
Jason,
come on the pod.
Come on the pod.
Jason Lipschitz of Billboard ranked it at 3rd on Folklore. He praised the production, the instrumentals, and the imagery steeped in authenticity. I just always put Jason in here when I can.
Because he's always right.
He is always right, except when he ranked Karma at 12.
That's okay. We've all been wrong.
Rebecca Carpin of Pop Matters described the song as heartbreaking and found its narrative horrifying, stating that it made her cry in the middle of 4th Avenue in broad daylight. That's a mood.
Down bad crying on 4th Avenue.
And on that note, that's when we get into the lyrics that we can all start crying in broad daylight.
There's only a little daylight left.
All right. So this first verse, I'm really obsessed with the way that it paints a picture with like these little details that all come together along with the instrumental and with the melody, just so that you know exactly what time and place that you're at when you're listening to it. Mm-hmm. Like she's in Pennsylvania. She's 7 years old. She's on the swings. It's this really beautiful moment in time for her. And I just love how simple it is and how beautifully put together and crafted this song is. Mm-hmm. And it starts with, please picture me in the trees. Wildest Dream chorus starts with say you'll remember me, followed by a specific memory. So this is similar to that.
It also reminds me of the Bridge of Long Live. The like, when they point at the pictures, please tell them my name. I didn't even think of that till just now. Ouch.
Ouch. Oh, no.
We're one line in. Oh, God.
Ooh, okay.
It's going to be an episode.
So for In the Trees, there were 2 collector's editions of Folklore. One was called In the Trees, one was called In the Weeds. The next line, I hit my peak at 7 feet in the swing over the creek. So this is interesting because it could be, I hit my peak at 7, like I hit my peak of life at 7 years old, or it could be at 7 feet on the swings.
I've always thought of it both ways every time I listen.
Every time.
And I love the like, it reminds me of that Picasso, I want to say, quote, where it's like, I spent, like however many years learning how to draw like an artist, and then however many years unlearning it to draw like a kid again. It's like the idea of you're never more free than you are when you're like 7 years old and you don't understand the world, so you just do what you want all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. It's powerful just for that. Childhood is so powerful.
And the 7 feet makes me think of like, I used to love the swings when I was a kid, and my favorite part would always be like when you would swing up in that like half a second where you're at the top, where like you kind of lift off the swing and for like a second you're floating and like flying. That's always been like even as an adult. Yeah. There used to be a swing set that I would walk past sometimes in my college town on the way home from parties, and I'd always be like, we got to go on the swings.
I saw that swing set.
You did?
Oh, so exciting.
I fell down that hill once.
I heard that story.
That makes sense.
By that swing set. Also, like, the movie 13 Going on 30, where she's on the spoiler alert for a 25-year-old movie. She's on the swings with Mark Ruffalo, and like they're connecting to their childhood selves. Also, everyone go watch 13 Going on 30. It's my favorite rom-com. It's so good.
That's your pick me up after this put you down episode.
Absolutely. Genius pointed out that Seven could also be talking about how she was 17 when debut came out, and her 7th album was Lover. So that could have been like a powerful time in her career. I don't know.
Interesting.
Food for thought.
So her 7th album was the first one that she owned the masters of.
Right, exactly.
All right.
The next line, she says, I was too scared to jump in, and my comment is, me too, girl. I'm too scared to do everything.
I made a really similar comment on mine. You'll see it when we get to it.
Amazing. Oh, gosh. But I was high in the sky with Pennsylvania under me. Just like the most beautiful way to describe being on a swing, which is like a simple thing.
But like she captured how magical like being like the simple things are when you're 7. And like that's another reason why like 7 is a peak in a way. It's because like everything's beautiful because everything is new and exciting at all times.
Exactly. So last week we forgot to do our hint songs.
Oh, that's true.
But my hint song was going to be Somewhere Only We Know by Keane, which came out in 2004 when I was 7. And it's like, oh, simple things, where have you gone? I'm getting old and I need something to rely on.
I thought of what mine should have been earlier, and then I forgot it.
It's all good.
Maybe I'll come back to it.
Maybe. We'll see. And that line, are there still beautiful things? What a gut punch of a question. There's so much that can be said about that one question.
And especially like in the context of writing that right after the world shut down for COVID.
Yeah.
Of like, everything is different. Everything is changed. Like whatever happens next, it's not going to be the same as it was. Like that was when the new normal was, everybody was saying. And like that idea of like, is there still beauty if I'm jaded in the world isn't magical anymore? Exactly.
Are there still these things that I'll be doing for the first time that are so simple that seem so beautiful to me just because they are?
That reminds me of, I was at the grocery store like last summer, I want to say, and I was kind of like thinking about this concept of like how wild the world is, and like thinking about it from like if like somebody from history like transported now and seeing stuff. And then I was at the grocery store and I like was buying strawberries, and the guy next to me was just like, this is so amazing. And I was just like, yeah, the strawberries are on sale. I don't do that a lot. And he was like, no, just like, we could just walk into a store and buy strawberries. Like 50 years ago, this was not a thing. And like, this is just insane that like, this is the world that we live in. And I was like, yeah, that's a very sweet sentiment. This is one of the few times that I'm okay with a random man speaking to me in public, because yeah, be excited about strawberries. I fucking love that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When you walk into the world and look at it through childlike eyes and all the things that we do have and all of the beautiful things that there still are, it makes life so much more enjoyable.
It does.
I also wrote a quote from the movie Stand By Me. Did you ever watch Stand By Me?
I didn't, but I know the gist.
So the last line of this movie, it has stuck with me for like my entire life. I never had any friends like I did. Gosh, I never had any friends later on like I did when I was 12. Jesus, does anyone? And like, I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's just different when you're a kid.
Yeah. And also like the kind of friendships that you form when you're a kid. Even like, obviously we've been friends for.
And we're lucky.
Yeah, we're lucky. Most people do not keep friendships that long that are like actually good and not just habit. But like, friendships change, and so like even though we've been friends since we were like 6, it's like the friendship we have now is obviously not the same friendship we had when we were 6.
Right.
So it's just, yeah, I love that.
Right? Great movie. Watch that and then watch 13 Going on 30.
It's a pick me up.
So then we get into the chorus. Sweet tea in the summer. Apparently there's an unreleased song, Sweet Tea in God's Graces. Genius pointed it out, so I put a note of it.
Probably debut era moment.
True. This melody of just sweet tea in the summer, it's like so calm and peaceful. And I really love that about this song, even though it's so sad.
She's like, let me make it really cute and sweet so that you don't think about it too much.
Yeah, because she goes, sweet tea in the summer, cross your heart, won't tell no other. So like when you're kids, cross your heart and hope to die, stick a needle in your eye. It's like, let's keep this secret. And when you're a kid, you're just like, I promise I won't tell anyone. Because like, what are the stakes? What are your secrets?
Yeah.
This song will go deeper into how there can be some pretty big secrets that you are not equipped to handle when you are a child.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really outright say that. It just like, I just rewatched Perks of Being a Wallflower recently. That movie, I have never seen something so real than that movie, because it's just like, yep, that's life. Life is hard and beautiful and awful and great.
And it's all of those things all the time, all at once.
Exactly. Though I can't recall your face, I still got love for you. Like, how many best friends did we have at one point that we just don't talk to anymore?
I think about like my best friend in preschool whose name was Megan, and I could not tell you what she looked like at all, but I know that like we went to like dance class every week together, and like we'd always get Wendy's afterwards, and I remember like that was so fun. We went to preschool together, but like when we went to like kindergarten, we never saw each other again.
Yeah. Isn't that so strange? But you still carry that love from the time that you were friends.
Yeah.
I had that with my friend Maura. This was actually going to be one of my discussion questions, was just reflecting on if you had a childhood friend like that. Me and Maura were just like best friends, and then she moved away, and like you're a kid, you just kind of find another best friend.
Yeah.
The other fun thing about when friendships end is that you also have their secrets.
Their secrets. You hoard them like a little dragon. And they mean nothing because you know nobody who they know.
Exactly. Your braids like a pattern. For this line, I have braids in my hair.
It's a sleigh.
Thank you. You also have a braid.
I do, because I didn't want to do my bangs.
So fair. I wrote braid alert. What's wrong with me?
Nothing at all.
Because we talked about braids a few weeks ago, because in the Tortured Poets department.
Oh yeah, she had all the braids
being
hair, and
uncombed.
Also braids are in the songs.
Yeah, we talked about that in our original Tortured Poets department episode. Go check that out if you want to. But braids. Love you to the moon and to Saturn. We already mentioned our tattoo. This is also directly referenced in the artwork for Karma, which Taylor is connected to the moon. Ice Spice is connected to Saturn.
Love that for them.
There's a children's story called Guess How Much I Love You that says I love you to the moon and back. Also, Saturn has 7 rings. Also, Saturn stands for karma in astrology.
Oh.
Very layered.
She loves an Easter egg.
She loves an Easter egg. Do you think she loves Easter?
Yes, there's that one video of like her and her brother during like 1989 era, so they were like well into their 20s, doing an Easter egg hunt. And it was like when she would like casually post on Instagram, and she was just like, it's funny that my parents thought we wouldn't get competitive, and then it's her and her brother like knocking each other over to get Easter eggs.
That's
like,
so cute.
And like running around the garden trying to win.
I'm obsessed with that. My mom loves Easter. We did Easter egg hunts until I was like 21.
I love that.
She held on as long as she could. And now she's got a grandchild. Well, yeah, she's got a grandchild that she can do Easter for.
That's cute.
And then passed down like folk songs. It just reminds me of like when you're with your family and there's certain songs or rhymes or like car games that you do. Like my mom and I used to play this game on long drives that she learned from her mom, or, you know, like little things like that that just pass down that you just carry with you.
Yeah. I feel like in my family, it's stories. Like my grandpa was the best storyteller. And anytime he'd tell a story, I'd be like, everybody shut up, Grandpa's telling a story. And then he would just tell like the same, like sometimes he would tell different stories, but for the most part, he had kind of like his 10 core stories. But every single time he told them, you would sit there and listen because it was a banger every time.
Yes, exactly.
And now like we tell those stories.
Right. And it passed down like folk songs. Our love lasts so long. There's that quote of like, you die 2 times, once when your physical body dies and one, when people stop talking about you eventually.
That's like the movie Coco,
Mm.
which has been top of mind because the house that I stayed at in the Adirondacks, like my dad's friends, whatever, they hosted the party that I was at in the Adirondacks camping this weekend, and they have this dog named Lucy, and she has like the longest tongue that I've ever seen on a dog, and it always lolls out the side of her mouth like the dog from Coco. So every time I see that dog, I'm like, that's the dog from Coco, except black dog instead of weird Harry. Just a little tangent for you.
The black dog, you say?
She was a black dog, or she still is a black dog with a little white patch on her chest, and I was just like, all right, I miss Spear. This is good, I guess.
Also, it's funny how last week I talked about how my hair had gotten so long since Eras Tour, and then immediately I got my hair cut, and now it's the length that it was at Eras Tour. Anyway.
I really like that.
Now I'm vamping because the next thing that we have is the bridge, and I'm not ready. I'm like literally...
Wait, it's only one verse and then chorus and then bridge?
Yes! This song is perfect, actually. No notes.
It's perfect. 10 out of 10.
Anyway.
No notes.
So now we get to the bridge of 7, in which I read this last night while I was doing these notes and had just a quick little sob moment.
Just a quick little sob.
I've been meaning to tell you. I love how she casually is just like, oh, hey, by the way, B2 dubs, and then drops the most devastating shit you've ever heard in your life.
Which is so 7-year-old coded.
So 7-year-old, because you don't know how devastating something is.
Yeah.
How could you possibly know how heavy this is?
Yeah.
You're using the only frame of references you know to figure out what's happening around you because you don't know anything.
Yeah.
I think your house is haunted. Okay, I wrote this and I'm sorry, it hurts. It's the childish belief that the paranormal is more realistic than a father acting out for no reason. Like, that must be why, because it's the only conclusion.
And I've also seen, because like your house is haunted, and like the theory that the dad is an alcoholic and like drinks spirits. So then it's haunted by spirits, but the spirits is actually the alcohol.
Interesting. I suppose it could also be like if the mom died, the house is haunted. I don't know. It could mean so many things. I like that spirits interpretation. I hadn't heard that before.
I saw that on TikTok. I don't know who it was from because I saw it like pre-podcast like years ago.
Wow.
Because I feel like with how layered she made some of the stuff in the song, I feel like that could work. But also the mom, because also, I mean, your dad's always mad. Like the mom's not mentioned at all. So that's
true. It could go either way. Like, I think your house is haunted. Your dad is always mad, and that must be why. That's the only explanation that she can come up with as a little kid in her little kid brain. And I think you should come live with me, and we can be pirates. And then you'll have to cry. Anyway, and we're back. Ouch. Okay. I think you should come live with me, just as like, your house kind of sucks. So like, my mom will host you and we can,
Yeah, when you're a kid, you like don't understand things. So you're like, the world is so simple because like, this is exactly how it should be. Like your dad's always mad. Mm-hmm. It must be the ghost. If he won't leave the house, then like you can leave the house. Like you can get out of it. Which also like, as a breaking cycles metaphor is so interesting too.
Yeah. This, not to bring Stranger Things back into the loop, but this part of the song has always reminded me of that scene in Stranger Things where Mike is telling Elle, like, oh, you can just come like live with my house and we can make you Eggos and then you can come to the snowball with me. It's like, that's not how that works, Michael.
It's not how it works, but it's so nice that you think it is.
Yeah. And we can be pirates, like the typical kid thing. I used to pretend I was mermaid, princess.
But also it's interesting that she chose pirates, which is like not a like typical gender girly thing. It's like we can be pirates like Elizabeth Swann in Pirates of the Caribbean. Like we can be whatever we want to be. We can
BARBIE.
What?
Barbie girl.
Oh,
sorry. I'm sorry. Please take it back.
No,
say
that's
that again.
fine. I just I couldn't spell for a second there, and I was like, I didn't hear the first B, so I just heard ARB, and I was just like, are you gonna spell Arby's? And I was like, what does that have to do with piracy?
I have one more tangent about that, but first, complete your so serious thought because I don't want to forget it. It was important.
Oh yeah, just like the idea of because like when you're a little kid, like yeah, we did play like princess and mermaids and all this stuff, but we also like would play these more like like pirates and these more like active like boy, I'm doing air quotes, games.
Yeah, because like gender, who cares?
Exactly. When you're a kid,
it doesn't matter.
You don't understand gender roles yet, so you break them more often.
It's great. What a free way to live. The tangent I had is you know how we wrote that song "Poor Little Souls" when we were in high school?
I was thinking about that yesterday,
and it was because Kat, you want to be honest?
I saw a Barbie commercial, and it was like the tagline was like, "Some love to pretend," and I was like, "Some pretend to love." Which is kind of a banger, but also very funny. That's based off a Barbie commercial.
We literally wrote
to pretend, some pretend to love.
We wrote the most angsty teenage song.
Poor little souls
lost along the way. It's a banger. I would stand by it's a banger.
No, it's totally a banger. We recently rewatched some videos of like, or we rewatched the video of that specifically at like a live performance that we did with our little girl band in high school. And like, honestly, it was pretty decent.
We did great. We did great.
I got nervous, and I was playing guitar, so I just sped up the tempo really bad during the bridge. But other than that, it was a good time.
It was intentional, quote unquote, intentional. Yeah, maybe we can put that song on the Patreon.
We could. We'll have to ask the other people in it.
Oh, true. I do have.
Or we can just re-record it.
We could do that as well. That's true. All right. Then you won't have to cry. I highlighted it and I wrote, "Oh, but I will," which was true. And then, or hide in the closet is the next line, which can be taken in multiple ways. First, of course, being like literal. You won't have to hide in the closet because your dad's always mad. There is that threat of something bad going on at home, violence happening at home, and hiding in the closet, which is very sad and serious. Alternatively, equally sad and serious, you won't have to hide in the closet being queer, like being queer, and not being accepted at home. And that would go with "Cross your heart, won't tell no other" earlier in the song of like, I won't tell anyone about this.
Yeah.
And both interpretations are hurtful.
Both hurt. Were you going to say something funny? Because you were like, a serious one and another serious one. Was there going to be a funny one?
Oh, no.
Oh.
Nope.
Okay.
Oops, all serious. And it ends with "Just like a folk song, our love will be passed on again." We get that second verse where she just changes. She says, "Picture me in the weeds," which I think is interesting because it could be literal. Like when you're a kid, you're less afraid to just like play in the grass and roll around in the weeds. And then I remember when I got older, I was just like, oh, I have to worry about ticks. I have to worry about like dragging dirt into the house or like whatever. I used to literally, one time my mom was just like, when you were a kid, you used to eat ants. I don't recall this. I believe it.
Do you remember the book How to Eat Fried Worms?
Yes, I do.
That was a weird book.
Weird. But that's being a kid, though.
That's being a kid. If somebody dares to eat 10 worms and you say, "I'm going to make this a hero's journey."
And then it was gourmet. It was a different way every worm.
Yeah.
Worm? Would you still love me if I had to eat 10 worms?
Probably.
But like as kids, we saw the movie Ratatouille and just accepted it, you know? Like there's
we
no
saw
rules.
the Bee Movie and we said, okay, I don't have any questions about that relationship.
Who came up with this?
Jerry Seinfeld.
Because he wasn't 7.
He apologized he spoke at like a commencement this year and he apologized for the Bee Movie.
Oh my goodness. You know, I haven't seen it in such a long time. And I don't know if I will ever watch it again. But
maybe we'll do that on the Patreon as one of our movie streams.
If you want to watch Bee Movie with us. Oh my gosh.
Just know we're just as annoying watching a movie with as you can imagine. I say we, I mean it's mostly me.
I'm gonna flip my hair. No, it's me too. We're both annoying. Anyway, in the weeds could also mean like metaphorically in the weeds where you're just in messy situations where things are unclear. Like that expression means like, oh, you're in the weeds right now.
Also, like when someone's like in the weeds of things, it's like they're too detail oriented and they're not seeing the bigger picture. They're just in the weeds. They're like inside the weeds trying to fix it from a small level when it's like there's a bigger issue at hand.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like picture me trying to solve these small problems by saying like you can come live with me.
Right.
Like we're in the weeds. This seems like a solution to this problem because I don't understand the bigger consequences of things.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. So she's saying, picture me when I didn't know any better, when I wasn't perfect, when I was dumb and screamed anytime I wanted because there was no pressure to be silent. So this next line, before I learned civility, this is where like a feminist sort of vibe comes into the song, because we are trained. We are, I am what you trained me, and who's afraid of little old me. We are taught to be silent, to be restrained, to not scream anytime we want, to not scream at all.
It makes me think of like, as a girlie with ADHD that wasn't diagnosed until I was an adult, how ADHD in girls often goes undiagnosed for like a lot of their lives, because girls like have inattentive ADHD a lot of times instead of hyperactive, which just means they zone out, but they're not causing a disruption. Like boys with ADHD will like cause disruptions in the world around them instead of just like zoning out like girls do. So, and I think, I don't have any sort of psych background, but I feel like to a certain degree, part of it is not just like girls go inside their heads and boys externalize. It's like girls are taught that they can't be loud and annoying, so they have to do something else to cope, and it's going into the inner world instead. Yeah,
that's true. I wanted to point out how she does this, like, I'm not going to sing it right now, but when she does the eyes and there's like this melodic at the end of this verse, it's so pretty.
It's so pretty. This whole song is so gorgeous.
Her voice is so pretty, and the way that she sings and tells the story is just so beautiful. The last chorus is pretty much the same, except she says, pack your dolls in a sweater, we'll move to India forever. Which is like what we've been saying, it's like, it is that simple to a kid.
Yeah. Like when I was like 8 or 9, I tried to run away from home for a night. It was very traumatic for my parents because I got like 2 miles away from my home with nobody finding me for several hours.
I remember this.
But I remember I had a tote bag and I was wearing it like a backpack. And I packed Teddy, my teddy bear that I still have in my room right now because I'm not letting that thing go. I got when I was like 4. And then like a stuffed bunny and I think like an applesauce. And I was like, this is what I need.
That's it.
And then my plan was to go sleep in my elementary school on the playground overnight with one of my friends. She did not make it past her backyard. I made it 2 miles through a very busy road. But I'm here and I'm chilling. I had turned around by the time that somebody found me because I was like, I don't like this anymore.
Right. So speaking of dumb idiot things, I was even more of a dumb idiot. I didn't tell anyone, just decided one day to live in a tree.
As you do.
And it was the tree in my next door neighbor's front lawn. So it wasn't like far away from my house. I went next door, brought a bag of marshmallows.
The things you need, yes.
I don't know if I brought anything else. I know that there were marshmallows. You don't need anything. Pack your dolls in a sweater and a bag of marshmallows.
That's the implied third
exactly.
thing.
And then I'll live in the tree forever. The ideal packing list. Your dolls, a sweater, bag of marshmallows.
That's it.
I'm just saying, the next time you go on a trip. But yeah, when you're a kid, you're dumb. So you don't know any better. So that's 7. Just like a folk song I love lasts so long.
And you had your little friend question, so yeah.
I did. The friend question we already kind of answered. Just tell us a little story about like a fun little stupid childhood thing that maybe the song reminds you of, or a friend that the song reminds you of, which we already did. So there you go.
And now,
long live
the walls will crash through. Sorry, my mom texted. It's time for Long Live. This is track 14 on Speak Now and Speak Now Taylor's version. On the original standard version of the album, this is the final track. What a note to end on.
Woof.
Just like every other song on Speak Now, this was solo written by Taylor. And it was produced by Taylor and Nathan Chapman for the original recording, and then Taylor and Christopher Rowe for Taylor's version. We've talked about this before, but Nathan Chapman didn't produce any of the Taylor's versions, just the original ones. We don't know why. There's also, what I learned today in my research, is there is a version with Brazilian singer Paula Fernandes that was released in 2012 to promote Taylor's music in Brazil.
Huh.
Just a little fun fact for you. And Taylor has spoken about how this song was written about the experience of the Fearless tour and it's about like her bandmates, her tour mates, and like her fans, and how magical that time in her life when she like really first started hitting it big, how magical that was for her, because Fearless was her first headlining tour. She didn't do any like solo tour for her debut album. She just opened for people, which I feel like back then was more usual. Now you wouldn't see that, because I think now a lot of times even smaller artists will play like smaller room tours, you know.
Yeah.
In terms of performance history, this was on the Speak Now World Tour set list. It was the last song before the encore. It was also a surprise song on the Red Tour on June 29th, 2013 in Vancouver, British Columbia, February 11th, 2014 at the O2 Arena in London, England, and June 12th, 2014 in Singapore. And then it was a surprise song on the 1989 World Tour on December 12th, 2015 in Melbourne, Australia. Mate. It was also on the Rep Tour set list as a mashup with New Year's Day. Hold on to the memories, they will hold on to you.
Wow.
I think that's how the transition went. Rep Tour has been off Netflix for so long. It's for falling out of my brain. Taylor, bring it back, please.
Please, Taylor.
Please, Taylor. And on the Eras Tour was added July 7th. Shortly after we saw the Eras Tour. And it was removed March 9th.
Cat is bitter.
2024. I feel so fine and normal about this. And then it was a surprise song with Yo-Yok.
Oh my Lanta.
This May 25th. It's fine. It's fine that I've never been there while Long Live was performed. It's fine, Taylor. I don't feel personally attacked at all. Because as we know, Taylor Swift makes all of her decisions around me.
That's true.
A random person from Penfield, New York.
She does. Okay, but I can't listen to this song. So I'm okay with not having seen it live because I wouldn't have survived. I would like you to see it, though.
I was thinking while writing these notes that I would have had probably like a full mental breakdown during the song at the Eras Tour. But you know what? I did that during Marjorie too, and it was fine.
Ooh, true.
I was sobbing during Marjorie.
Anyone who
Abby
saw...
was like, "Are you okay?"
I was also sobbing during Marjorie.
You were sobbing, but I kind of kept sobbing afterward.
Yeah, I cried during Marjorie and The One.
I also cried during Cruel Summer. I was just really excited.
We were just crying. The people who saw the Yo-Yok Long Live mashup, are you okay? Are you still
okay
on this earth?
Is that
I wouldn't
like medically? Are you all right? In terms of my personal connection to the song, I've cried so many times to it. So many times. When Speak Now TV first came out, I was repainting the office at my old apartment, and I was just listening to Speak Now TV on repeat because I painted it like the weekend that it came out. And every single time that Long Live played, I did cry. Every single time. Didn't skip it. I listened to it every single time, but I cried every single time as well. So I just like, that's where I was at mentally, like less than a year ago, just for reference. When you're like, oh, Kat is out here making jokes, and I'm just like, I'm unwell. I also, when I was in my wannabe singer-songwriter era, and I posted covers on YouTube, I covered Long Live like the day after our high school graduation.
Oh, wow.
And I remember recording it I was sitting on like my mom's bed, like playing my little acoustic guitar. I haven't watched it back because A, I'm certain that it's not good, and B, it just makes me very emotional to think about that.
Yeah, that's really special.
Yeah. And also just a side note, originally I was like, we shouldn't cover the songs. Like we should wait till our last episode and have this be like the final song, like whenever we eventually hit the end of Taylor's discography in like 100 years because she keeps putting stuff out. We keep getting more episodes, which is great. Thank you so much, Taylor. But we just like it too much.
That was originally going to be the bit, was our final episode. We were going to cover Long Live. But I think the idea of that, like, I can't even handle the idea of that.
Yeah. So we have other final songs. And we also have several years, at least. Even if Taylor stopped putting out music forever, like tomorrow, which devastating. Don't even want to think about it, but we would still have several years worth of episodes.
Yep. So you're stuck with us for a bit.
Because we're not going to give up, because we're not quitters. And my overall interpretation of this song is like just that in the moment, like knowledge that you're going to be nostalgic for a moment in the future. And then also like the reflection back on it at the same time. The time in this song is very interesting. I talk about it throughout. So we'll dive right in. What I think is really interesting about the first verse is that it's about like living in the moment, but also thinking about the moment that you're currently living in from the future and being like, I'm going to try so hard to remember the things that I think will matter about this moment in the future. I said, remember this moment in the back of my mind. So like she's talking to herself for this first line, just like, there definitely have been times in my life where something's happening and I'm just like, someday this is going to be something that I look back on and I know that I want to remember it because like I'm certain that this exact feeling is something that I don't want to forget. And I just love how well she captures that. The time we stood with our shaking hands, the crowds and stands went wild. We love a little stage fright moment. I too have anxiety. And I also want to point out that until today, I thought it was the crowds and stands went wild, but it's the crowds in stands, which makes a lot more sense because I didn't think about the fact that crowds and stands should not. Also, it stands with the D, and I don't think that I'm pronouncing the D hard enough, but I don't want to say it more. So just know that that's what I mean.
It's
I'm
not
talking
the crowds
about like,
and then guys named Stan.
or like fans.
Right.
Stands.
No, I know.
It's stands. But yeah, so that's just there's going to be several moments throughout this song where I just talk about how I was really stupid when I first listened to it and didn't conceptually get things.
Okay. I'm ready.
We were the kings and the queens and they read off our names. Oh, I didn't realize it was the next line. That was my first note about me being stupid when I was younger. So when I was younger, I did not conceptually understand that this line was about the Fearless tour because like this line specifically, I hadn't been to a concert in a while. When this came out, we were in like 8th grade. I had kind of gone to a lot of concerts in like elementary school and then stopped. So I was like, why would they read names at a concert? Clearly, this is just about a graduation and can be about nothing else because 8th grade Kat was a trip and not in a fun way. It's a bad trip. And then I also noted that this is the same era of brain rot as when I thought 15 was about being in college because I didn't understand that you turned 15 during your freshman year of high school. Oh. So this was like within the same couple of year period where just like time and nuance totally lost right over my head.
I love when we talk about us being young and stupid. I think that's my favorite parts of these podcasts.
Yeah, especially these songs that like we've known for so long. I'm just like, yeah, this is the stupid thing I thought when I was younger that is now objectively funny.
Well, because Kat and I were also around each other during all of these stupid things.
Exactly. It's like, there's no shame because I was stupid and you were friends with me.
And I was also stupid.
And I was friends with you. The night you danced like you knew our lives would never be the same. We've talked a lot about Taylor talking about dancing in her songs, and this was like the era where it still was very much like a carefree metaphor of like being free, and you know, and there's a lot of connections in the song to Never Grow Up and like the way you danced around in your PJs.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of a play on like dancing like nobody's watching. You're dancing like our lives are never going to be the same. You held your head like a hero on a history book page. And I just love how she's describing this moment because she's describing it as she wants to remember it. So like I think there is an immediate sense of like romanticization and like nostalgia creation about this moment that she's like currently experiencing, which is so real as an overthinker to be like, this is so amazing. I'm going to think right now about how I would write about this instead of experiencing the moment fully.
Oh my gosh. I remember when my friend got married and I was a bridesmaid. I was so blessed to be there. And she asked me, she was just like, I feel like I'm not going to be able to enjoy my own wedding. And so I kept telling her to like every so often just take a beat while you're there to just admire everything around you instead of worrying about like what the pictures are going to be like. And she said that was really helpful. That's what I think about.
I'll write that down for Brienne's wedding. You held your head like here on a history book page. So like that painting the moment as she wants to remember it. But also like that moment where you're realizing that years of work is finally paying off and you look around at the people who are with you that like helped make it happen. You're just like, we did it. And it feels like something big and historic, even if it isn't. Like I think this song makes me think of graduations a lot, even after I realized that it was not just about graduations. I recently rewatched my college graduation vlog because it's been 5 years.
Whoa.
It's been It's it was just 5 years since I graduated undergrad, which is wild.
Wow.
But I like vlog. I was in my vlogger era at the time, and so like I vlogged it, and I'm honestly very glad that I did because it was really nostalgic and nice to look back at. And like, I don't know, it's just I love this song.
Yeah.
Was the end of a decade, but the start of an age. I like she's saying, you know, every end is a beginning, and that's, you know, a very cliche thing, but obviously she always says everything in such an interesting new way. But also like the end of a decade, obviously a decade is shorter than an age, so it's like the buildup was, you know, it was a decade long. It felt like this really hard, difficult thing, but then once you're through it and it's the start of an age, you realize what a long-lasting effect that your efforts are going to have. Long live the walls we crashed through. Like, long live, obviously, as a concept is like you say, like, long live the king, long live the queen, long live, like, whatever thing that can't actually live forever, but you want to live as long as possible. But they don't want to, like, forget all of the milestones that they've passed, the walls that they've crashed through, so, like, all the achievements, all the awards, all of the, like, you know, record-breaking attendance things, like, stuff like that. And they don't want to forget those things, even if they continue crashing through more walls. They don't want to forget the ones they've already gotten through to get to where they are. This is so silly. I'm sorry to break up this serious song with more silliness.
How
could you?
On our podcast, and I've mentioned before how the short blonde hair era of Miley Cyrus is just like, it lives in my head rent free, and the We Can't Stop music video, but then also the Wrecking Ball music video. That is so very like summer before senior year or junior year to me. Like, I feel that in my bones. And so when I think about like the walls we crashed through, that's why I was thinking about the Wrecking Ball.
What a time. What a time to be
what
alive.
A time.
So how the kingdom lights shine just for me and you, like these big life moments, it makes it feel like the entire world is like lighting up and aligning just for you. But also in a more literal sense, like it was true for her, like the literal stage lights and everything's the kingdom, quote unquote. I'm doing air quotes. I keep doing visual bits on our audio podcast. But like they were shining just for her. And also this was a time period when like sometimes cities would do like fireworks for big concerts, like independent of the concert itself. So I just love that. I was screaming, long live all the magic we made. So knowing an ending is happening and like things are going to change, but that doesn't mean that the magic and the memories and achievements that they all had together is just going to disappear. Like it's going to keep living on. And she really wants to like hold on to that magic.
And though I can't recall your face, I still got love for you.
Exactly. And bring on all the pretenders. So Taylor knows that she's going to be able to like figure out for herself if people are pretenders because she's had this experience of having people around her who are genuinely supportive and genuinely want her to succeed. And I mean, a lot of the people who are on the Fearless tour with her still tour with her to this day. Like her guitarist, her backup singers, I think for the most part have been with her since Fearless tour. Like Taylor is somebody that once you are in her circle, like you're in it.
Also, Big Pretenders just reminds me of Midnight Rain, Pageant Queens and Big Pretenders.
Also the Foo Fighters.
They
have a song called Pretenders.
Also the band The Pretenders,
which I think I'm seeing them open for the Foo Fighters.
Really?
Yeah. Just some fun facts with Kat. One day we will be remembered. She knows she's an icon, and she's right. She will be remembered for a very long time. She is the Beatles of our generation. And then, so the second verse is kind of a shift. So the first verse, like I talked about, it's the current moment, thinking about it from a future perspective, looking back. And this second verse is about being in like a current moment of triumph and achievement and looking back at all the things that it took to get there. And knowing that all of that work that you did in the past and all the struggle and sacrifice was actually worth it because you did it. You did the damn thing.
Yeah.
And I said, remember this feeling. And in the first verse, it's like she's saying, remember this in the back of her mind. But here, I think she's saying it out loud. It could still be internal of like, remember this feeling. And because the next few lines are, I pass the pictures around of all the years we stood there on the sidelines wishing for right now. So it's like she's with these people who she's currently succeeding with. And she's saying like, remember all the things that we had to do to get to the point that we're currently at, like how much we had to struggle and sacrifice and play, you know, shows to 12 people.
Yeah.
And like now we're selling out arenas.
This hits so hard thinking about like obviously Taylor's journey, but anyone's journey when you look at like 5 years prior to now or from high school to now or from
I think
whatever.
about like Chapel Roan, who is blowing up right now, and she got dropped from her record label in 2020 because Pink Pony Club didn't do well enough because it was a club hit that came out in like mid 2020, so like obviously it didn't sell well. And then she spent like 2 years trying to make ends meet, working as like production assistants and this and that, and like had to move home to Missouri to like the town she's from. It's like population 6,000 people, like it's very small, and she had to like move home and like struggle through that, and just decided like I'm gonna give it like one more shot at music. And
now look at her.
And now, I mean, if you look up the video from that Boston Calling posted, the festival of her set, it's like a mile deep crowd. It's insane. Wow. It looks deeply unsafe, but I'm so happy for her because that's insane how many people were like watching her set, because she's an incredible performer. But it's like without all of the problems and all of the like struggle, you don't succeed. Like, you know, there's always all those things. It's like Tina Fey, when she was like 25, was working as like a cashier at McDonald's, and then
receptionist at the YMCA.
Thank you. Same vibe. The YMCA is a terrible place to work. I worked there for many years.
Yeah.
Gross.
Also, Joe getting a bunch of success right now for his music. I mean, I love those stories.
Takes, you know, it's like it takes
good.
10 years to be an overnight sensation.
Yeah.
It's like how the saying goes, because it's like it seems like you're an overnight sensation, but really you've been working at it for years and years.
And these people have done the work.
Yeah.
It's not luck, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are the kings and the queens. So in the first verse, because she was looking back, it's we were the kings and queens, now we are the kings and queens. They're serving. You traded your baseball cap for a crown. So the idea of like the stage persona and like this, you know, stepping onto stage and becoming like a king or a queen and like trading your normal everyday life, and like also, so it's you know, you get on stage, you're a queen, you get off stage, you put back on your baseball cap, or it's like you've just gotten to a point in life where now you're wearing a crown at all times and you're like past the point in your life where like a baseball cap is the norm. When they gave us our trophies and we held them up for our town. Once again, young Kat did not understand that this wasn't about getting a diploma or a sports trophy. Did not compute that this would be about her winning Grammys, such as the Grammy for Album of the Year. And also, like, during this tour, when you, like, sell out a stadium or, like, a venue or stuff, a lot of times, like, if it's a bigger one, they give you, like, some sort of award or, like, plaque that's like, congratulations, you sold out MetLife Stadium. That's a big achievement. Here you go. And the cynics were outraged, screaming, this is absurd. And all they'll be is mean and liars and pathetic and alone in life and mean and etc.
And that's a dick bob. I'm bringing dick bob back.
Bring it back.
I just listened to the Glee episode again recently, just for kicks, the Glee episode, and dick bob took me out. I forgot.
What was the other thing in that one that was like on
Fuck Ass Bob?
Fuck Ass Bob.
Yeah, we were on something that night, and that thing was like 9 p.m. and we were in a silly goofy mood. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
And so the cynics are outraged, screaming, "This is absurd." Also, like the critics around this time. So when Taylor won Album of the Year for Fearless, a lot of people wanted to discredit her because she was an 18-year-old girl. And one of the ways that they discredited her was by saying, like, she didn't actually write the album, and because she had a lot of co-writers, because most people have co-writers. Like, she has written every single song that Taylor Swift has ever put out, she has at least co-written, if not written the entire thing. So that's why Speak Now, she is the sole writer credited in every single song on Speak Now, because she heard all that criticism and she said, fuck you guys, I can write amazing songs by myself. And then she created Speak Now, which is a masterpiece. I'm a meme of myself. I'm sitting in front of a Speak Now poster. I'm saying these words. I'm wearing the Speak Now Taylor's version sweater. True. I am aware of who I am. I know what I'm about.
We
and
all
it's
know.
fucking Taylor Swift.
We all know. I love this brand for you. Fearless era was also when the Kanye "I'm gonna let you finish" thing happened.
Yes, it is. And so there's a lot of critics just saying like, basically she didn't deserve her success. She didn't earn it. She didn't go through all the stuff, as if like it takes years to become an overnight success. We all know it. Because for a moment, a band of thieves in ripped up jeans got to rule the world. Taylor loves calling out people who are stuck up rich assholes and like look down on her for not being like more wealthy and more credited and smarter and older and blah blah blah. Like we're never ever getting back together. You know, like some indie record that's much cooler than mine, or
Right.
I Bet You Think About Me. I grew up in a house. It wasn't a mansion. It was an investment property. But also like it's very much giving I'm still country, look at my country chill style. You wear baseball caps and I wear ripped jeans.
You wear baseball caps, I wear ripped jeans.
And critics yell things cause they're outraged. That's how the song goes, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
That's Cabby's version. But also like the idea of like a band of thieves in ripped up jeans got to rule the world. It's like they came from humble beginnings and like ruled the world. I can only imagine what it feels like to be a musician and write these songs like in your bedroom or wherever, and then like go on this tour and watch thousands and thousands and thousands of people sing the words back to you. Like that must be so insane.
Wild.
Yeah. And it must feel like you're ruling the world because like, yeah, everybody's singing along.
Mm-hmm.
Put narcotics into all of her songs. That's why we're still singing along. And then the chorus happens. The first 4 lines are the same as the last chorus, but this one is longer. So instead of after and bring out all the pretenders, instead of one day will be remembered, it's I'm not afraid. We love an extended chorus with a new line to transition. However, Taylor, I live in constant fear. Couldn't be me. The thought of going to the grocery store makes me feel like I'm being hunted for sport.
I love how we had the same note.
We both had the same joke. We're just like, I love that you have an entire era called Fearless. Could not be me.
No, we can't relate to that, Taylor.
Fearless.
Could she come out with an album that's just like constant terror?
Who's afraid of little old me? Me. Every time that like an artist that I like starts doing something, I'm like, I'm afraid. Like, my friend Cass sent me a reel of Noah Khan doing a new song at one of his live shows, and I was like, oh no, Stick Season came out in 2022, which means that he could release an album by the end of the year. I'm afraid. And I was just like, why am I so afraid of like good things?
I'm scared. Like when Joe 3 comes out, Joe 3 Electric Boogaloo. I'm gonna piss my pants.
Fair enough. We'll have to do a release night for
obviously
that too, for sure. Long live all the mountains we moved. Again, the second verse was more about like looking back on what it took to get to this point. So like, you know, climbing the mountains and like overcoming obstacles. There's like a common metaphor, such as in The Climb by Miley Cyrus.
Oh my gosh, she's always relevant now.
She's always relevant.
Wow.
Today. 24 hours only.
Sorry, Miley.
But also like once you've overcome obstacles, you look back on them and like, so you've overcome your obstacles, you're succeeded, you're Taylor Swift, and you look back at the things that you've overcome and like you look at them with kind of rose-colored glasses and more nostalgia coded, because you know that to get to where you are now, you had to go through that. And it's like, okay, this is like to move to where I am, I had to experience that. And it's like, that sucked and I didn't like that, but I got here. I had the time of my life fighting dragons with you.
That's my favorite line in the whole song.
It's so good because it's like we together fought these dragons. It doesn't say we defeated the dragons. It just says we fought dragons together. Like we fought these big scary things and it was okay because you were by my side.
And it's like the line in 7 with we be pirates.
Exactly.
Yeah. We be pirates. Yeah, that's
pirates.
what the line is.
We be pirated. Me, if Taylor Swift keeps not putting Rep Tour on Netflix or anywhere else.
R. It doesn't start with an R for nothing.
Easter egg. I was screaming, "Long live that look on your face." Again, like the hero in the history book page kind of idea of like looking at your friends when you achieve some sort of success and like not only having your own joy, but also the joy of the people around you that you love and care about that are also succeeding. Mm-hmm. And then I also wrote down, if we ever become like real famous in any way, I request that somebody makes an edit of us, specifically with this chorus, and then sends it to us, and then we'll cry a lot.
If anyone did that, please, but also, whoa, I would cry so hard.
I'd cry so much.
Wow. If anyone made an edit of us in general.
That's true. Now?
No.
The bridge.
Oh, goodness.
Hold on to spinning around. Confetti falls to the ground. Like holding on to this celebration, the magic of achieving something and what it's like to be on top of the mountain and looking back at the climb that you've just fought your way through. The dragons that their bodies are littered behind you. Let's make it dark. In a fun new way.
This is a family show. Or is it?
It sure the fuck is not. May these memories break our fall.
Wow.
So good.
That's a great line.
It's such a good line because, they say the higher that you go up, the harder the fall is. And she's saying, I know that things can't always be this good forever, that there will be a fall, but having these memories and these moments that I've like collected and that I'm hoarding like a dragon, don't attack me, is like what will make the fall easier because she knows that she has this to fall back on.
Yeah.
Will you take a moment and promise me this? Like the tone of this line reminds me of like pinky promises or like when you're drunk and you're with your like friends in college and you're just like, let's promise that we're always going to be besties and like blah, blah, like those promises that you make that you don't know whether or not you'll be able to actually keep them, but like at the time it feels so important to make them.
Can I go where you go?
Ouch. So promise me this, that you'll stand by me forever, but if God forbid fate should step in and force us into a goodbye. Like that idea of like promise that we're going to be friends forever, but if we aren't friends forever because outside forces tear us apart, aka because internal forces couldn't because we'll always be friends. If you have children someday, when they point to the pictures, please tell them my name. Like Taylor writes a lot on Speak Now about growing up, like in Never Grow Up and Innocent. In the Mind music video, she like has that whole montage of her future life. And like this is her thinking about like trying to be realistic about the fact that she knows that things are going to change or that things are going to end and that things can't stay the same forever, but just like begging the people around her that when things do change and they do end and they look back at this time, like she's just like, please like remember the things that we've gone through together fondly. And when they point to the pictures, please tell them my name. And it's like the idea that somebody who is so important to you in your life someday will be a stranger to your children, you'll be a stranger to theirs, is like so painful, but also
that's life. That's what makes both these songs hurt so bad, is because that they're sad and that's life.
Exactly. And like tell them how the crowds went wild. Tell them how I hope they shine. Like no matter what happens, she still is giving these well wishes.
The camera just died, so if you're watching this on YouTube, it's just going to be a audio for the rest of the episode. But
but we're here. Long live the walls we crashed through. I had the time of my life with you. This is when I started crying because just like the reason why she had the time of her life is not only because she was so successful and she was breaking records and this and that. Like it's because of how, not just how it was happening and what was happening, but who it was happening with.
Exactly. Like we didn't even have to be fighting dragons.
Exactly. We could have just been hanging out, podcasting. Time of my life. Hit a little whip, got too emo. Must deflect.
Hanging on by a thread over here.
By a thread. And then the chorus happens. there's only one little change. Instead of screaming "Long live all the mountains we moved," it's singing. Because she's like trying to be more in the moment again, and like they're singing "Long live." She put it on the Speak Now set list. So like, I feel like she was writing this with the thought of when they'd be singing it on tour. Because like, it's one of those songs that you write the song and you know you're gonna be singing it on tour. Because how could you cut it from the set list?
Right. It was weird that it wasn't on
the Eras tour.
The Eras tour, and then it was, and then it
isn't anymore.
Wasn't anymore.
It's fine. It's fine. And just the way that the music like builds, and then all stops right before she delivers the last line of like, "One day we will be remembered."
Yeah.
Try to listen to that line without crying challenge. Difficulty level impossible.
Our love will be passed on.
Like folklore.
Yeah.
We will be remembered.
Wow.
And that is Long Live.
These were some emo songs.
I do have a discussion question.
I'm ready for it.
What moment or moments in your life do you think of when you hear Long Live?
Do you have an answer?
Yeah, I definitely think of both my high school and college undergrad graduations, because I didn't have a grad school one. But like, because it's just a moment of achievement that also includes a lot of reflection, because you know things are going to change in a major way, and you're just like, one day we will be remembered. Who knows in what form, but like, we're going to remember this.
Yeah. My high school graduation, I've mentioned in the past, I turned 18 on my graduation day from high school, which was huge. And then...
Speedrunning adulthood.
Yeah, for sure. I've had like parties, just gatherings with my friends where I really just appreciate the people around me and how much I love them and all we've been through together. So I have these moments, and no specific ones are coming to mind.
But you know they happened. I get it.
My senior solo was a big moment when I was Audrey in Little Shop. That was a big moment.
You were really good at that.
Thank you. Like, theater also hits different, because at the end of every single show, you're just like, you guys are like everything in my life. I will never forget you. And it's like that until your next show.
That reminds me of when, like, because I was on the swim team in middle and high school, and like, as a senior, you have like your senior meet, and like senior games are a thing in like pretty much every sport, where it's like your last home game of the season, and it's like very emotional, and you're like, oh man, I wasn't that good at swimming, but I sure did like being on the swim team. I was default varsity, which is seniors in high school are not allowed to be on junior varsity, but they don't cut people from varsity, so I was the default varsity squad, me and like 4 of my friends, and I branded us as default, and we would chant default at meets. Yeah, I guess hint songs. We'll remember to do hint songs this time.
Oh, yes.
My hint song is Picture You by Chapel Roan.
My hint song is Sweatpants by Childish Gambino.
Okay, it's childish. No, that's the wrong song.
Do you know why?
Why?
So, yeah.
So that's that week.
It felt good to record again after we recorded the last 2 weeks on the same day.
Hours apart.
And then
why
we
last
didn't
week's episode
see
was
each
so
other
chaotic.
for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The next
half weeks.
It's been a bit. It's been
having
wild.
withdrawal symptoms.
Me too. It was hard.
I was literally dreaming about you.
Really? Oh yeah, you were. And it was also wild because like we used to spend so much time apart.
Yeah.
We used to just like not talk for like a month.
As I've said many times, start a podcast with your best friend, because then you have to hang out like at least about once a week. On average.
I talk about this all the time because it really has been a blessing. And what was the other thing? Oh, next week I'm traveling. You know, we're traveling a lot this month.
It's summer.
It's summer with Tom Zit, and
Summertime.
It's a vacation.
Fun fact: Bet on It was co-written by a woman, which means that I could add it to my Female Rage the Musical playlist, which I was very excited about. So thank you so much, Antonia. Cannot remember your last name for co-writing Bet on It and putting the Female Rage into it.
My cat Amelia does not like the song Bet on It, but I forgive her and her questionable music taste.
It's okay. She just gets too hype and she doesn't know how to handle her emotions.
It's true. So I'm traveling next week, which means that we're going to record apart for the first time ever.
Which we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how it goes, but it'll be an interesting little experiment for us. It'll be great. So see you there.
See you there. See you next week. Crispy high five time.
Heck yeah. Okay.
That was pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good.
All right.
Bye.
We'll see you next week, folks.